welcome to the Glen Gauer podcast, the best podcast you'll listen to all day. Sponsored by Mission Blueprint. It is the best podcast you'll listen to all day.
You know what? What else are you going to do on a snowy, icy day?
Oh, ladies and gentlemen, it's Tuesday. We're recording this for Thursday, and it's beautiful outside.
Hey, the weatherman tells us it's still going to be snowy and everything on Thursday, so it could be your Thursday morning. They don't know.
You gotta love the snow.
Welcome to South Dakota.
So, any updates on Supreme Court and Trump?
Nothing that I've seen yet. No real action. Really ironic. I had a friend of mine on Snapchat that was traveling out east, and Dusty Johnson was riding in the plane directly seated behind her. So I was Snapchatting her lots of questions to ask Mr. Johnson, but I haven't gotten any updates. So, the 6 degrees of separation to Kevin Bacon and Dusty Johnson.
Dusty, how about you come on this show?
We'd love to have you.
We got some questions for you, Dusty Johnson.
You betcha.
You are the representative.
Come to the OK Corral.
That's right. And have you been watching Twitter? The Twitter files?
I haven't much watched or been on Twitter, but I did hear this morning that Elon Musk is eliminating or getting rid of that supervisory board that was...
What is it, health and safety or something like that?
Something like that had to do with, false news narratives and content
Because
monitoring.
Trump was a terrorist, after all.
Right.
Yeah, he was a terrorist.
Domestic terrorist.
The president of the United States, a terrorist.
Yes.
Yeah, got to get rid of him. Yeah, it just came out that Musk said there was no reason at all to get rid of Trump on Twitter.
Of course not.
Yeah, we all knew that.
We all knew that.
It's no shocker. But ladies and gentlemen, today it's time to speak up. It's time to get up off your duff and start asking questions. We talk about freedom of speech, and I don't think any of us really know what that means. I mean, I think we know what it means, but creating a context for today, you can say anything you want, but we don't know our history. We don't know how hard it was in other government political systems to speak up. And so one of my questions today is it any different? If we don't speak up, it doesn't really matter what regime is, holding us captive. And captive might not be the right word, but if you're in a monarchy, if you're in communism, and if you're in a democracy, wow, that's a little wink, wink, constitutional republic.
That's from our conversation last week.
Yeah, it doesn't really matter if you don't try to speak up and defend the rights of human persons, because what else is there? The rights of human persons. And so, Dennis, I want to go over the First Amendment with you, and it's really short. You've all heard it, and I'm going to ask you some stupid questions about the First Amendment. Are you ready for those?
I love stupid questions.
Yeah, they're dumb. Anyway.
The only dumb question is the question not asked.
Okay, First Amendment. Congress shall make no law respecting an establishment of religion. Okay, we stopped there. We talked about that last week.
We did.
All that means is what, Dennis?
Say it again for the crew.
Congress shall make no law respecting an establishment of religion.
Means, looking at our history, you have the freedom to practice whatever religion you affiliate with.
That's it. That's all it means. It doesn't mean, it also means that Congress is not going to say the official religion of the United States of America is Buddhism, and you must practice that.
Correct.
Or be penalized, be taxed to death.
Right.
Which we're not taxed to death in this country.
And as a reference for what you're talking about there, when the Christians took over Jerusalem, the Muslims were still allowed to pray in their Arabic tongue, but they had to pay a tax to Rome, who controlled Jerusalem, when they prayed.
We're still in Rome. Anyway, let's move on. Let's make no law respecting an establishment of religion or prohibiting the free exercise thereof. Now, listen to this. Or abridging the freedom of speech or of the press or the right of the people peaceably to assemble and to petition the government for a redress of grievances. My eyes just got blurry, and I haven't even started drinking alcohol yet.
Well, our moonshine's pretty tight here.
All right, so let me ask you a stupid question. Explain freedom of speech.
Say what you want to say. say it the way you want to say it, and be at peace with that. That's simply what that means. Our government never intended that there was such a thing as hate speech. There was never a definition of you can't go get a soapbox and stand at the corner of 6th Street in Brookings and talk about Jesus. There was never intended there would be any limitations for people to say what was on their mind at any point in time.
It's important to say what's on your mind.
You need to. That's where you get clarity and conversation and maturity of understanding.
And this is what people hated about Trump. He wasn't presidential. He didn't act like the other presidents. Bush was presidential. Bush, he started a flippin' war. And we were over there for how long, spending all kinds of money while our guys are dying. But, ladies and gentlemen, he was presidential.
Have you ever seen that movie Green Zone?
I have not.
Oh, with Matt Damon in it?
No.
So it's a war. It's based on weapons of mass destruction and how they couldn't ever find him. But that was our whole context for being at war in Iraq, is we were looking for weapons of mass destruction, which were never found.
Okay, stop tempting me to jump into that war.
Okay.
I'll get ticked off here in just a second.
Okay, we'll save that for a different day.
But anyway, people didn't like Trump, how he said things. Who cares how you say things? Should you be respectful? Yeah, but now and then there is a verbal punch in the face because people will not back down in error, right? Which I would call heresy. All right, so it's important, ladies and gentlemen, to get up, shut the damn TV off, and get involved in our government, right? Change, of course, first starts at our own home. But for far too long, me included, this is a big wake-up call for all of us, but me included, we've been looking at the presidential election and midterm and thinking that you just vote for one of the Bushes. You vote for one of the Clintons, which is a type of monarchy, really, when you stop and think about type, because you had the Bushes and the Clintons for many years running this country.
We did.
Like two monarchical families, and I'm not sure how much freedom we have really had. But again, I think our Constitution, the way it's been set up, may be the greatest of all time. Maybe. Anyway.
If we help enforce it.
See, this is the thing. And that's really the gateway.
That's our wake-up call to our listeners.
Yeah, we cannot just go to the voting box and say, well, I've done my duty.
I got two to pick from. That's it. D or E. D or R.
Right, and we don't even know who we're voting for. Let's just be honest. Right, we watch these people on TV and say, I like him. We don't know him. Right, we can't. I mean, so listen, it's time to step up. And that's why we asked Katie to come back on the program.
We got Katie.
Katie, are you there?
Yeah, I'm here.
All right.
Speak up, sister. We need to hear that voice.
Come on, sister.
I'm fighting a cold, so bear with me.
All right. So, Katie, you started a group called We the People of Belle, Fourche, South Dakota. Remind our listeners why you decided to do that. Start that group.
Okay, it started in October of 2021 when I discovered that basically the city of Belle Fourche was not being managed the way that it should be, and department heads, especially our finance officer, was just doing whatever she wanted with no oversight and making sure she was actually managing our money correctly and well and doing her job. So just those things that I discovered, in order for people to find a place or to have a place to go to keep up on the latest developments, I decided to start my Facebook group. To the chagrin of many people in Belle Fourche, because when you go back to the First Amendment, they weren't happy that people were asking questions and demanding answers and all of that. But that's the root of it. That's basically how my group started.
So what are some of the developments that have happened ever since your group has started?
Okay, well, a lot has happened, good and not so great, but we have a new finance officer who was the assistant finance officer. And I think he's more, he has a lot more integrity and humility and wants to do a good job for the people, which I think is great. I think the biggest awesome change has been that we were able to hire a city administrator. And he was actually somebody that was outside of our local swamp in Belle Fourche. So he can be objective and he's just going to do his job for the people. And he has the experience, which we didn't have anything like that before. So that was a really big plus for our town. And I think knowing he is at the helm in that way will help to educate the rest of the people on the city council and our mayor to actually know what it means to do their job for the people. So other things have been, it's like we got people on the council that I really, truly thought were really good citizen first minded people, great conservatives, but they are still struggling with this mindset that we're talking about here today, where the people come first, the taxpayers come first, and the taxpayers need to be heard and invited to be heard and take the initiative to communicate to us and remember who we are, which we're basically the boss, if you want to think about it that way. And I don't know, there's just this mindset in local government where if you're a taxpayer and you go over there, ask questions, and you demand accountability, they don't really like that at all. So
that's why I brought up monarchy.
It's been a long time coming.
That's why I brought up monarchy, because really, what's the difference? If we're the lay people, the taxpayers, if we're treated like peasants and keep our mouths shut and just do what we're told, what's the difference?
It's exactly the same.
Yeah, that's kind of what I feel like is going on, is that there'll be a lot of people that have come to me or personally messaged me, and they'll say, I always thought about running for a certain local government seat or getting on a committee, but they don't have the confidence in themselves to do it. They're like, well, this person is a big name in Belle Fourche and they can do it because whatever. It's like, no, we all have different talents to offer our town. And it's basically, we are obligated as American citizens to get involved, not just hand it off to a small group of people and let them stay there for decades. Like that's not healthy. And it creates the swamp. So, yeah.
So, Katie, give our listeners your resume. You must have a lot of political experience, correct?
Pre-law, probably.
Honestly,
political science.
I wish. No, I was the type of person that I hated politics, and I am so busy with my family. I just didn't. I'm like, I'm going to vote. And that's why I vote, right? Because I vote for someone that chose to stand up, who has the time to represent me. So I'm going to vote, and then I'm going to get on with my life. But that was it. I'm a stay-at-home mom. I homeschool my kids. I prefer to hone my skills with training horses and all of that. I don't want to do politics. So that should tell you my long, nice resume there.
Sounds like she should run for governor.
I'm going to write you in, Katie.
I'm writing you in, Katie. You're in.
I made a mistake. I voted for the wrong person.
Oh, my God.
We'll give her a few years to finish up her resume.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, the point is this. You don't have to have a law degree to be involved. And you think about, and I'm not going to give you, Katie, all the credit for those wonderful things that have happened in Belle Fourche, yet there is this underlying of we, the people of Belle Fourche group, began talking, began going to meetings. They stepped up to the plate, and they simply asked questions. And I was reading.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
Well, I guess I was just saying, like, I knew me just alone as an individual. I can't change anything down at City Hall. And I know there have been some people that have been more involved in politics for some years. They thought they could. They would just go down there and fight head to head with them. And I'm just like, I know that's not going to work. The only thing that works is getting the people together is the key to changing things. That's why I mainly started that group and just started talking and asking questions.
In politics, they call that a grassroots effort. You're starting a new movement. You're creating a new patch of grass to stand on and make a difference. Good for you.
I hope so. Thank you.
So what in the world is going on in our political systems today, our local governments? It's really interesting when you talk to people on the local level. Things are messy. Dennis?
But they've got the game figured out. Nobody cares.
Nobody cares.
Nobody's going to go question it. Nobody goes and sits at the office and goes, you know what? I want to know where my tax dollars went. Can you show me? I would like to see the books for the forestry department. I'd like to see the books for the parks and rec. I'd like to see the books for the city. I'd like to know how my money's being spent.
And who are you again? And what is your position? You're just a nobody.
Right. You don't have access to that. That's private.
You shouldn't even be here. We know what we're doing. Just trust us. Well, ladies and gentlemen, I want to invite another person. Why are you laughing? It's so, why?
Ronald Reagan's favorite words. Oh. I'm from the government. I'm here to help.
Yeah. The most dangerous words, right?
Right.
Ladies and gentlemen, we have another gentleman in that same county, Butte County. I believe Belle Fourche is the seat of that county. Mr. Travis Ismay is joining the program as well. Travis, are you there?
Yes, sir.
Welcome to the show. Travis, you're a rancher from Newell, South Dakota, who started a group in 2021 called Concerned Citizens of Butte County. What compelled you to get involved?
Well, I'll tell you, our just neighbors got together, and we saw some things in our community and in our government that we didn't like, and it was kind of spooking everybody around here, and we saw bad people moving into our communities and stuff, and we only have 4 police officers in our county right now. Well, there might be 5 right now. I don't know. But 4 police officers to cover 10,000 people. I mean, there's some city cops in Belle Fourche, but out here in the country, we pretty much, you just take care of yourself. And we were getting, to where we wanted to have some sort of an organization to get together and help each other out. And if somebody needed something, we go help them out and kind of have a network of farmers and ranchers and businessmen and stuff out here and women that would come together and just take care of things. And we got together and we just started getting involved in our local government and found out that we didn't have a whole lot of brains running our county. It was kind of depressing when we got in there and actually started looking into it.
What do you mean not a lot of brains?
We have 5 county commissioners right now, and honestly,
elected county
right.
Okay.
Yep. And 3 of them just do whatever the other 2 want, basically. I think, we have 1 on there that has voted no, I think 2 or 3 times in the last year and a half that I've been going to meetings. But we just don't have any dissension at all. You would think that in a county you would have somebody that would at least ask some questions, but basically we have bobbleheads. It's and I don't have anything personally against them or anything, but that's just the facts.
But that's interesting because those county commission folks are probably not government employees. They're not employed or have jobs within the city or the county. They probably have a chairman for the county or some sort of liaison that works in the government office that tells them which way they should be voting to get things done.
Well, I don't know if that particular is the way it is, but we have a chairman, and he's never been able to hold down a job most of his life, I think, and he found something that was he could make enough money where he didn't have to work, I guess. And he's our county commissioner, he's he's actually my county commissioner, but they just, I don't know how to explain it. It's kind of like if you had a whole bunch of people running your business that had no idea what your business was. It's 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 ridiculous.
So
He doesn't really. Go ahead.
So it sounds pretty bad over there in Butte County. Give us an example of one of the things that they have done that you go, what are you guys even thinking here?
Well, the most recent one was the marijuana, medical marijuana ordinance that they ran through. They've ran 3 of them through right now. The reason they did that is because the state required them. Every municipality in the state was required to allow 1 dispensary per municipality, which I believe is complete overreach. There's no way that the government should be able to tell a county, the state government should be able to tell the county that they have to have a business in their county. I mean, that doesn't make any sense. They should have fought it on that basis, but they don't really care, I don't think. So they adopted the first ordinance, which was, I think it was an overdue. There was 2 establishments, but they actually how would I put it? I can't give you the entire ordinance right now, but it was doable. They had 2 different marijuana establishments in our community, or in our county, and they had a dispensary and a grow facility. And like, I can't remember, Katie, do you remember how many months it was and they moved it to unlimited grow farms?
Yeah, I think that the very first one was adopted in June of 21, and then they amended it to have unlimited grow farms in October of 2021.
That's right. It's right around, yeah. So they scrapped their first ordinance, which was workable. I mean, 2 establishments is plenty for 10,000 people in our community, but they went 6 establishments and then unlimited grow farms. And by the time they were done, they had approved 14 marijuana establishments in Butte County.
14?
Yeah.
Do you think
they've
that's
approved
enough?
14. Yeah, I think that's plenty.
Wow.
Yeah, they actually approved one right across the fence from me. I'm out here in the middle of nowhere, and I've got a grow farm.
Why?
That's about 150 feet from my fence line.
Why? Like, there had to be public testimony as to why they should authorize or justify that. We have that out here on our side with dairies and things that are unusual. You have to put it out to public comment.
Well, this is how unorganized this county's ran. They have a notification in the newspaper, but the newspaper is not in Butte County, and hardly anyone in Butte County gets that newspaper. So no one knew about it. And we were fighting them most of the whole time they were approving these things. We were there telling them, just stop, don't do that. It's going to be a wreck. You don't even have law from the state yet. Why are you approving all these? And they just kept doing it and kept doing it. And I think towards the end there, it was just to stick their thumb in our eye. I mean, there was no reason for them to do what they did. And they listened to the state's attorney, and she led them wrong. It's going to be a fun fight, but it was completely unnecessary for what they did. And we're actually helping other people in other counties now. Our group keep, from the information that we've obtained, we're helping other counties keep the marijuana grows and establishments out of their counties. And there's plenty of ways to do that. And if any of your listeners would like to have that information, I'd be glad to share it with them.
Maybe we can put a link in the show. Could we do that, Travis?
Sure. Sure.
Yeah, send me a link and I'll put it in the show. So you started going to these county commissioner meetings. I just want to hear this, and I think I already know the answer. But after the first couple meetings, what were you thinking? What were your thoughts about these meetings?
Well, I thought that I could work with a few of the county commissioners. There was one in particular that I thought that we could work with, and would actually had some brains, I guess. And I went to him and talked to him, and I found out that I was wrong. They put on a good show in the county commissioner meetings, or he did, but you have to get to know these people. I had a little conversation with one the other night, and he said that if South Dakota legalized, well, I brought it up, so everything that he thinks that everything that is legal is fine, it's good. And I said, well, what if South Dakota legalized rape? And I figured, the obvious question, I'd be against that. He said, oh yeah, that'd be fine.
What?
Wow, really?
Yeah. That's how dumb.
Which commissioner is this? I'm on the Belle Fourche website right now. I guess if you don't want to throw anybody under the bus, I understand.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. So just so your listeners understand, you have to talk to these people on the phone. You have to get to know them before you start passing judgments on them. You shouldn't judge anyone, but you have to be observant.
Well, you have to decide if you want them to represent your values.
Right.
So yesterday, Travis, you and I were talking on the phone and in a pre-interview just to kind of get to know you a little bit. And you shared a story about years ago, the county commission, they were looking for some land, and they purchased some land, and they were going to build I can't remember what you actually said. Could you share that story with our listeners? Because I heard that and I thought, what?
Yeah, our courthouse is old. I can't remember when it was built. I think in the teens, 19 teens, and they found some black mold in the basement, and they wanted to condemn it. So what they did is they went and they tried to find some more land to build another courthouse. Well, they found some land, all right, and they purchased it, and I don't know the exact numbers. It was around $600,000 for this land. It was right down in the middle of Belle Fourche, pretty much. Katie knows where it is, but they bought it, and they didn't look into it, and it's a swamp. They paid $600,000 for a swamp, and they couldn't build the courthouse there. So instead of backing up and going seeing if they could get out of the deal, they just kept the land, kept the $600,000 worth of swamp, and they spent some more money, and they went up on this hill where above kind of it's north side of Belle Fourche, and they bought this admin building, and they dumped close to $1 million into this admin building. And they didn't move out of the original courthouse. The sheriff's office and the county commissioner's office and the state's attorney is still in the courthouse.
What about the black mold?
I don't know.
They cleaned it up. Maybe they
apparently.
I think you can get rid of it, but that's not the story here. The story is there's lots of spending that's going on, and nobody really knows. Not only a few people know. And you were telling about the interest payments on that initial note. Tell us.
Yeah, I was going through the budget from last year, and there was an interest charge of, I don't have it in front of me right now, but it was around $57,000 of interest payments. And I asked them, well, what's this? They said, well, that's on the loans that we have out for the land and the admin building. And I said, so how long has this been going on? And they said, well, since we bought it. And that, I don't know the exact year, but it was 10 to 15 years ago when they bought this land. And I'm thinking, so you've been paying at least $50,000 a year in interest on land that you didn't use and on a building you didn't need. So, and they didn't have any oversight on this. I mean, no one ever goes to the meetings. The only people that ever go to the county commissioner meetings are people that are either complaining about their road or are praising them for something that they did personally for them or something like that, which is fine. But if you don't dig into what they're doing, you'll never find out what's going on, and I want to make sure that if somebody in a community out there that you guys are speaking to hears this, be sure what you do if you're going to do this is get the paperwork from the source. Don't take anybody's hearsay. If you're going to do that, you've got to come loaded for bear, because they will turn it around and they'll make you a what do they call those? Trump's one.
Martyr?
Domestic terrorist.
Yeah, domestic terrorist. Yes, I was. I had a funny story at a county commissioners meeting. They had started this nuisance ordinance that they had brought before the board that they wanted to put in, because this little guy came in and he was complaining about the dust on his road and the garbage in his neighbor's yard, and no one likes that, but they wanted to pass this nuisance ordinance that it wouldn't work. I mean, we're out in the middle of the country. You can't not let somebody have a manure pile in their corral for I think the limit was 48 hours. And then after the 48 hours, you had to go spread it out on your field, and it couldn't be deeper than 2 inches deep. And I mean, it was insanity. Like, you can't do that. No garbage, no trash, no nothing, So I circulated that, and me and our group, and the next meeting, they wanted to put in metal detectors in the county commissioner office because I was stirring people up. And
you terrorist.
Yeah, I was a terrorist. And so I was like, oh, really? Okay. So at the next meeting, I came in there and I said, I want to solve your guys' problem with your county, with you guys being scared of people coming in here and shooting the place up or whatever you're talking about. I said, I have two suggestions. See, we've been fighting for night meetings since I started, because no one can go to the meetings that we go to unless you're really mad and you want to be there.
What time are the meetings?
The first one is it'd be the first Tuesday of the month, and it's at 9:30 in the morning.
Don't these people have jobs? Don't they have jobs?
No,
they don't have jobs.
What do you mean they don't have jobs?
Well, looking at their website, they're mostly old. They're really old.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, they're old.
Well, okay, hold on. So Tuesdays at 9 something in the morning, normal people are working. They can't go to meetings. No. And you would think these 5 commissioners know that most people are working, or is that why they're having a meeting at 9 or 9:30, whatever you said, because people can't come?
Oh, wait till you hear the next one. The third Tuesday of the month, they have it on at 1 p.m. So if you I got to be there at 9:30. Well, you show up at 9:30, you're going to have to wait till 1 to get to the second one. So they don't want people there. If you got to take time off work or whatever, you can kind of plan on, okay, 9:30 in the morning and be back by noon or something like that. But if they're alternating different times, I just don't. But anyway.
So, ladies and gentlemen, Travis and I talked about this yesterday. I wasn't sure if I was even going to bring this up, but I think it's good to know that these county commissioners receive stipends. And I was looking at something you provided me, Travis. It must be their budget for the last couple years. And let's see here if I can pull it. Here it is. So their budget, and if this is right, in 2020, sorry, my phone keeps doing that. In 2020, these 5 gentlemen, were they all men? Doesn't matter. These five
There's
commissioners.
one woman.
These five commissioners, 4 men, 1 lady, received $96,726. They split that 5 ways. So in 2021, these 5 people received $99,000 in salary. In 2022, they had a pay raise. They all 5 of them split $111,000. And then what's projected for next year is $117,000 in salaries for 5 commissioners, which is $23,426 a year to be a county commissioner.
Well, you don't have to have a job if you make that much.
And this, ladies and gentlemen, this does not include do they get health insurance for this? Do they get, what are the other things they get on top of a salary?
Well, that paper that I sent you, the picture of the paper I sent you, they have a share FICA and the SDRS retirement fund, and then they have group insurance, which I think the group insurance, to be fair, I believe is just liability insurance. They don't have health insurance.
Okay.
But they make enough where I don't think they need it.
So these commissioners, ladies and gentlemen, are making, I mean, you can't live off of $24,000 now. Well, you could if you don't have any expenses, but, you know, for 24 meetings a year, that's
$1,000 a meeting.
Yeah.
Not bad.
Not bad at all.
So how familiar are you guys with the rules from Dennis Dugard back in 2011 and 2013 about government transparency? Do you guys track that out there?
I didn't know anything about that. I didn't know anything like that existed.
Okay, so there's an entire website out there called boardsandcommissions.sd.gov. It lets people track state government boards and commissions. And one of the rules and regulations that came down in all this transparency things in 2018 is no public official is to use a private email server.
Really?
No, because you can't search it as a citizen. All government business is supposed to be transparent. It's open books law, and this is all in the South Dakota side of the laws that are out there for for us as citizens. Your county commissioners are supposed to use a butte.sd.gov email for all government, and then that is a public record which you can go and search and find. If they're using a private server, you're getting into the thing that we talked about with Hillary Clinton having a private email server versus using her Secretary of State email for conducting government business.
I see.
And if they
are those emails, are you saying those emails are up like as public record on that website, or we can just go through a FOIA request and get them? Because I already put in a FOIA request anyway.
You can put in a FOIA request, but if they're using a private email, they don't have to give it to you because it's their private email. But when they use a government butte.sd.gov or brookingsSD.gov email like our county commissioners, I can go and request all of the county commissioners' emails for the last year and look for discrepancies, conversations, who's emailed them about what. Of course, you can meet with somebody privately. You can meet with them and email them on a private server. But if they're conducting government business, then that puts them against the rules and regulations of holding a public office, which can then be a grounds for immediate dismissal.
Okay, so that was my question. What are the ramifications of that? And you're saying immediate dismissal.
Right.
So how do we know? How do we know that the Butte County commissioners are transparent? I mean, where would you go to find that out?
I would assume they're not. I would assume they're not transparent because there is no transparency. And they're not playing by the rules.
But you don't know.
You don't, but let's just be honest. We're all sinners. We're all bad people on the inside. That's why we're saved by God's grace.
We can disagree there. You got some theological problems there, my friend.
Well, I probably do.
You're a Lutheran. That's why.
That's probably why. So the rest of us are evil. You Catholics are good.
Side note. Well, you got that right. Hey, you're finally coming around.
There it is.
There it is.
Hey, I'll stay on my side of the stone.
But good speculation would say that they may not be, let's just say they may not be following the rules put up by the governor.
And this isn't the rules of court. This is the rules of public opinion. And the rules of public opinion, you're guilty in proven until you prove yourself innocent.
Right.
And so this is where you really need to be going to your county auditor. You need to be going to your county manager, your operations people within the building. Don't even worry about the commission, because all of that infrastructure should be set up through the IT department of the county, and those web emails set up and hosted through the city or county's government website.
So if you go to the website, you should be able to see all their email transactions?
You wouldn't be able to see them all. You would have to put in a proxy or request to see those email transactions, because they aren't going to put them up as a live stream. But you as a public citizen can go in and request phone records for county commissioners if you have one that works in the city. Just no different than you can go and request any city employee to go request that city employee's phone records from sitting at their desk. Now, cell phones and things like that today, with allowing those at work, there's a lot of stuff that isn't transparent anymore, but we allow it.
I think you just gave a jar of candy to Travis. He was chuckling back there. Travis, why are you chuckling?
Well, our website is antiquated at best. They don't even record their meetings. The only person that records the meeting is the auditor, and she just does it for the minutes. There's no public record of what even occurs in the meeting other than the minutes.
But what I'm telling you is, you go out to the South Dakota boards and commissions.sd.gov website, you'll see that's in a violation of the state transparency laws. And you as a public citizen can bring this up to the next county commission and be like, I don't want to get the state's attorney involved. I don't want to have to bring this up to peer, but we're in violation. But I would start with a cold conversation and very cool-headed conversation, and maybe a friend of a friend going in and talking to the folks at the city and being like, hey, I was doing some research. Why are we not doing this section of the codified law of the state of South Dakota?
Okay, so Dennis, what you're saying is that when they have a meeting, it needs to be broadcasted video and audio?
Yeah, because
I did not know that.
You have your citizens. So Channel 2 in Brookings on Mediacom is the public access channel. And that's for anybody who is invalid. Maybe you have someone who's retired in a nursing home, God forbid. You would get hurt and we're in the hospital. You are still allowed as a citizen to have media access to meetings, whether it's city council or county commission meetings.
So Travis and or Katie, you're saying you don't have access to these videos?
No, only because the only reason we do is because Travis goes there and records.
Oh, so the county commissioners.
It's all thanks to Travis that we have any kind of video recording of it.
And the fact of the matter is probably a really weak IT department or a lack of funding to the technology side of it, which in today's area, you could probably call Nome's office and tell her, I need somebody from Dakota State to go over and help this county get set up, and you would have 3 volunteers from SDS or from Dakota State who would go over as a grad project and set it up.
I mean, come on, this is pathetic.
The thing is that they have to want it, and they are fighting it. So I'm not going to believe we don't have the funds to do something as small as that for a project when they want to, like Travis said, how many years ago they spent $600,000 on this stuff. They just got a quote from an HVAC company for, it would cost, what was it, $1.5 million to put in a new HVAC system in the courthouse. It's like they can put in some sort of recording equipment, but we have on video, thank you to Travis, that, at the most recent meeting when James had his meltdown, they illegally removed Travis, and James demanded that the camera goes with him. So that was, it's not that they don't know. It was that they do not want recording equipment in there. And Travis is just a burr in their butt when he has that camera there.
But then you have to bring this up to your state's attorney, and if your state's attorney won't address it,
well,
then...
our state's attorney is in bed with the county commission, so we're going to have to go higher. But this, again, just comes down to the people. If Butte County citizens would just start showing up with us and being just as loud, change could happen. But I mean, we're under some deep corruption when our county commission won't hear us and they kick us out and actively work to keep us from not coming and silencing us. And then on top of that, our state's attorney is doing the same thing at an even deeper rate, So that's why it's like I'm working hard just to get the word out, because these guys deserve all the attention they can get, because they prefer to work in the dark with no one watching them. And they want to stifle any kind of talk back from us.
So you do need to start with the state's attorney, and then Dennis, where do you go after that?
You would refer the state's attorney it answers to the attorney general at the state up here. So if you're not getting any traction or movement or support, or you write a formal letter looking for a formal request from your state's attorney and it's not honored, obligated, what you would do is then resend the letter certified both to the state's attorney office there in Butte and to the attorney general's office in Pierre, because the state's attorney's boss is the attorney general of the state. So what you're doing is you're looping the supervisor into the conversation of, this isn't being done in our state. This transparency law is being violated, but we're not getting a remedy. And this is my second attempt to reach not only the state's attorney, but also now to inform the state of South Dakota attorney general that we have a problem in our county.
What happens if the AG says, I'm just not going to do anything with this? Then what do you do?
Then you start petitioning the governor, and you just start petitioning higher up into the food chain of, I don't want this ignored, and I don't, as a citizen, I don't want what this government's giving me.
But do Katie and Travis, do they need a lawyer to do this? Would they have to get a lawyer?
Not initially, no.
Okay.
Because they can be concerned citizens. They're not filing a lawsuit. They're not filing any sort of claim. They're just bringing public laws to a light. Just like Katie said, she didn't even know that this boards and commissions.sd.gov, existed. It's been in place since 2013, 2015, and it's only been expanded in 2018 under Dugard. It's all there. You just got to know where to look.
There's a lot of people that don't know anything about that.
Well, of course, who's looking?
Including public officials.
Well, who's looking? This is what I told you. The commissions and these city governments have figured out that nobody really cares what they do until somebody cares, and then it's all the excuses of, well, I didn't know, and I wasn't trained. Nobody sent me to. We're dealing with this with one of our local boards and commissions that we deal with. They've been operating for 25 years without any contingency or safety net, not planning for future development, and now they're getting caught with their pants down and a huge financial expense, and they have no remedy for it other than to go back to their peasants and ask for more money, and they're going to price their peasants right out of living in our community.
That's happening in Brookings right now?
Yeah, that's happening in Brookings right now.
Wow.
So it happens everywhere, but they figured out the secret sauce. Nobody's paying attention. Nobody cares. Everyone wants to be on their iPhone and just get to work and get home and forget about everything else in the middle.
Okay, so if I'm a chairman of the county commission, don't I receive a list of protocols, things that must, like a checklist, things that must happen?
No, because your job as a county commissioner and chairman is to follow Robert's Rules of Order. How to conduct the business. The business that needs to be conducted and done is supposed to be done by the managers. The county auditor.
Well, they don't even really know Robert's Rules of Order either, right, Travis?
No.
But again, they're not functioning within the normal parameters of government. That's Robert's Rules of Order are there for a purpose and intention, because if they're not following those, none of the government that they're executing, none of their rules by rules of engagement are being followed properly, and they can all be null and void. Because if it's not allowed for proper public comments, like you said, they're not publishing their meeting agendas in 2 weeks in advance, 24 hours in advance. They're not notifying the public in some way, shape, or form through radio, media, print, internet. They're
They even
violating all
tried
kinds of
editing the
transparency.
meeting minutes too. So
Yeah, they edit whatever they want in their minutes. They edit.
Well,
they'll take out
Um,
they'll take out some public comments that they don't want people to know.
of course, but that's at the
And,
discretion of the auditor to.
Well, the auditor needs to stand up and, like, she's a good lady, but she won't say, "Hey, we shouldn't do that." She just kind of goes along.
Right, because she doesn't understand her job.
So,
She doesn't understand what her assignment
she's brand
is.
new. She's brand new at it, but what I'm noticing, just starting in the city level up to the county level, I'm just noticing our local government is filled with people who really truly don't know the scope of their job and what it means to actually do a good job. And when you challenge them on it, they get all defensive and demonize you. And that's the sad part. But luckily, I'm really glad Monet Johnson got in for our Secretary of State. So hopefully from the top down there, I think we have a good lady as our county auditor. If she has the right leadership, she'll really thrive. So I'm keeping my fingers crossed for that one.
So, final question to Katie and Travis. Where do you go from here? You guys got to talk about that, or
I'll let Travis answer
Travis?
that one.
Well, I think that we just keep exposing these things that are in our communities, and I'll tell you what we've seen is a lot of things are changing now that there are people that are actually standing up and going, "Hey, what are you doing?" And I'm really fired up about it. We our little group, we raised $4,000 this election season and put a bunch of radio ads out. And Katie came with us and we waved signs and for Say No on Initiative 27. And, we did a lot of really great, with God's help, we did a lot of great stuff. And I think a lot of people have got this attitude like, "Oh, well, I'm just one person. I can't do nothing." You can. You'd be surprised how easy it is to actually shine light on what's going on in your community. And I'm kind of a guy that likes to fight anyway, so I enjoy it. I know that's kind of sick, and most people think I'm weird. But
No, but it goes to that Star Wars theme where they talk about there's more of us than there are of them.
Yeah,
And that's what we forget.
Oh yeah,
we forget that.
Yep, for sure. And I didn't want to. I forgot to mention our kind of our, how would you put it? Our mission statement for our group is actually James 1:25. Do you guys know James 1:25?
Not off the top of my head.
Okay, it says, "But he who looks into the." Okay.
Go ahead. Tell me about James 1.
It says, 1:25 says, "But he who looks into the perfect law of liberty and continues in it, and is not forgetful here, but a doer of the work, this one will be blessed in what he does." And I'll tell you, we saw that firsthand this year. I mean, we went through, we were just like 20, 30 people that were fired up about what was going on and cared. That's all that really matters, is if you see something that's wrong, do what's right. That's the definition of a man, is to love what's right with all your heart, soul, and might. And I don't see a lot of men do that anymore. They go home and like you said, get on their iPhone and mess around and just don't ever get into what their God put us here for. And I'll tell you that once you actually get into it and you see that you're doing what's right, that's all men want, is to do what's right. A real man. And if you see that you're doing the right thing and you go out there and you do it, it is amazing what God will do for you.
You're talking about James 1:25, and really it's about standing up and doing the right thing. And that's what's missing right now in our country is,
Yep.
a couple of years ago, we all sat at home with masks on, not doing anything because we were told to. And all of a sudden, different people said, wait a second. If this is really as serious as everyone is saying, the media is saying, then where are all of the deaths all of a sudden? And and so what you're saying is stand up. Just stand and begin asking questions. And if asking questions gets you killed, well, I honestly think it's worth it. That's why they killed Socrates, right?
Right.
He was perverting the minds of the young, they said. He was asking questions. That's all he was doing. And you know what? Some things are worth actually dying for. I don't think Travis and Katie, you're going to be killed for any of this. And I don't think we're going to be killed.
I
But
hope not.
but what I'm saying is it's still worth it. And anyway, because we're not free if we're at home with a mask on, just being told what to do.
And that's not freedom of speech.
That's right.
Right.
And I'll tell you another thing is people don't understand how dangerous this medical marijuana deal is. It's not what, grandma's glaucoma. This is serious stuff. This is cartel and human trafficking and harder drugs, and all that is going to be using these medical marijuana grow farms. Because, see, I don't know if you guys know this, but, I read the entire law. And excuse me, but I was reading in there, and they can transport their product in these licensed vans, and the police cannot pull them over. They can't arrest them. They can't even inspect them. And that is the perfect transportation for cartels running human trafficking, hard drugs. I mean, God only knows what else. And that's what people need to understand is this is not grandma's glaucoma. This is a takeover of the United States by the cartels and the big government. This is serious stuff. I know that I speak to hundreds of people about this kind of stuff, and they say, well, medical marijuana, it's God's plant, and they point me to Genesis 1:27. And I said, that was before the fall that God said that he looked upon all he had created and he saw that it was good. That's what that says. And I said, what about after he threw you out of the garden and he created weeds and cursed the ground? And people don't want to talk about that part. And I understand if there's something in THC or CBD that would help certain people, that's fine. It's already in pill form, and you get it through a prescription from your doctor. This is not a prescription. There's 2 card dispensaries in Rapid City right now that you drive up, get your card, you pay your $200, and you are now have a medical marijuana card. There's no exam. There's no background check. There's no nothing. You just pull up, get your medical marijuana card, and it costs you I think it's $200. They're doing a sale on it the other day. But I understand that what people, they want to get medical marijuana for seizures and all that other stuff. I understand, but you don't need to ruin the entire county or our entire state to do that.
Seems like there's a better solution than the one they're offering.
Oh, this one is horrible. You just think about our little county has 5 deputies, say, and there's 14 marijuana establishments. Now, what if there's a robbery at 3 of them? And then there's, like, say, a kid choking to death in town or out in the country or someplace. And they take precedence over that little kid choking to death because they were getting robbed. That's how it works. The police have to, they have to determine which thing to go to. And if they're fighting cartel, they can't take care of their citizens. And 4 deputies ain't going to fight the cartel anyway. Oh, and another thing is I really would suggest anybody that wants to know about medical marijuana to read the law.
Where can they go and read that at?
The South Dakota legislature. You can just, let me see if I can get it here.
Well, how about we just post a link?
Yeah, send us a link and we'll post it on our show notes.
Okay. And if you guys read that, I guarantee you by the time you get to the 12th chapter, you'll want to vomit. It is the most disgusting thing you'll ever see in your life. They made it perfectly legal to be a dope addict. You can't sue anyone that's involved with it. You can't question anyone that's involved with it. You can't inspect any facility unless you're from the health department. It's amazing.
That
if
sounds
you
like
guys
real transparency.
Oh, it's horrible. You can also you can prescribe a medical marijuana card to a kid under 18 as long as their parents sign off on it.
Yeah, that's gross.
Doesn't seem like smart law to me, and I'm not sure. We'll have to do some investigating.
This might be a good follow-up.
Yeah. Travis, Katie, you guys want to come back?
Absolutely. That'd be awesome.
We'll have you back, and I don't know when, but we'll be in contact with you both. I want to thank Dennis. Did you want to get in quick?
Oh, just send us those links because I want to make sure our listeners can get access to that when they listen.
Sure.
So
I'll do that.
So thank you, Travis. Thank you, Katie. And Dennis, thank you so much again for a podcast. Ladies and gentlemen, this podcast comes out every Thursday morning, and you'll have all the links you need. And may God strengthen
the bars of your gates. Thanks, everybody.
God bless you. Hey, thanks for listening to the Glen Gauer podcast, sponsored by Mission Blueprint. Mission Blueprint is a nonprofit ministry started by Glen and Jamie to sanctify the family. Our income is donation-based, and we need your help. Please support us financially by going to www.mission-blueprint.org and be a part of our financial team. Thank you, and may God strengthen the bars of your gate.